the bodybuilding bro split, if you like, is like, let's train a body part to, I don't know why I'm doing that, but anyways, let's train the body part to failure.
Yeah.
And let's split the body parts up. And that failure piece is critical. So so people would have said, well, that's just bro science, man. Like this is what the evidence says. The evidence says you've got to do, 0.7 RPE, all this kind of stuff. But now all the research that's coming out is saying, well, yeah, you just train to failure.
Yeah.
So do you think that decades of bodybuilding self-experimentation actually has given us a blueprint for how to build muscle?
Yeah,
right?
100%. I mean, when honestly, I love all the kind of science behind it. Like, I'm an engineer and everything, so I love science and everything about it. So,
did you do that at university?
I've got a master's in subsea engineering. I can tell you anything about it now. That was ages ago. But yeah, I love reading all these studies. But the quote unquote bro that is reading it, I'm like, you're doing a study on 10 people. That's not that's a horrendous spectrum of people to come up with these conclusions of what is optimal for training. And then you look at the spectrum that they're on as well. It's like, they're all untrained, and they have they're not tracking anything in terms of nutrition and not tracking their sleep, all this sort of stuff, all these wee things that we do, bodybuilders do all the time. And you look at the study, I'm like, okay, I can see your conclusions, but I still don't buy it. It's it really is anecdotal. You'll see some of the top coaches in the world, nutritional coaches. They'll say, eat this, and the bodybuilder like, why? It's like, don't know. I know exactly how you'll respond though. I don't know why it does this, don't know why it does that, but I know how it's going to make you look tomorrow.
Well, just to go back a step, you've got 10 to 14 years of very rigorous self-experimentation. So my view is there's not much that a study is going to be able to tell you that you don't already know.
Yeah.
Because you've probably tweaked every variable and you've tracked it.
Yep.
So when you get to your level, like these studies, you mentioned 10 people, N equals 10 is probably not going to tell you much.
Yeah.
Are they also people like you who've been giving it 10 to 14 years?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Very, very unlikely, yeah.
But I guess one of the other things just to raise, and this maybe goes without saying, is that in terms of funding that goes into bodybuilding research, I guess the research question would be how to get as big as humanly possible. And there's finite pots of money that people give out to do research. And you've got that as a question. And then the other question is, how do we cure Alzheimer's?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess, by default, more money is going to go to the latter. So there probably isn't much research that goes into how to get as big as possible. And that's why the self-experimentation thing is so important. Yeah. But also speaking to other people who've been on that journey and rigorously logged it is really important. And actually, that relates to the microbiome. The microbiome is a new emerging area of science and medicine. Yeah. And people often say things like, well, what do I do? What's the single best thing I can do for your microbiome? What food do I need to eat? James, what probiotic do I need to take? And I'm like, well, it's probably very individual, and there's general principles that you can apply. We'll talk more about that, but I'll just bring you back to this. There's some coaches that know if you eat that food, then this is how you'll look. Yep. So tell me more about that, because I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, again, that's just looking at bodies for 20 plus years. We've got coaches that just say you're like 4 weeks out from a show, fairly lean, not far off being ready for a show, and a coach will just be like, I want you to eat cheeseburger, fries, 4 muffins, just go eat that. And then just like, but why? Like, that kind of defies kind of like fat loss kind of theory. But then we know the next day you're going to be rounder, fuller, harder. And you just can't replicate that in a study. You just can't.
No, I agree.
So it's very, very, very anecdotal. And like Chris Aceto, who's one of the top coaches in the world, top 5 coaches in the world, he openly says, like, I couldn't tell you how protein works in the body. I don't know how, but I know what a chicken breast does in the body. I know how it'll make you look, which is the most important part. Like, it doesn't matter if I don't know the science of how muscle, how it's broken down in the body. It doesn't matter. I just need to know how you look after you've eaten it.
So he's got decades.
Well, he's got Mr. Olympia clients, which is the top #1 in the world.
And do they all go to this gentleman because he helps them get to a point where they look their best.
He seems to have a cracking track record of getting people just in phenomenal shape. Wow. So you're obviously doing something right.
Yep, it's what we would call know-how.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's got all of that in his head, and he's probably seen a similar situation before, and this is what happened. So he's got the equivalent of all these sort of N=1 studies that you can just pull from.
Exactly. So I've been coaching for 6 years, and I've even got a little bit of that. Like I've had in the past, I've just looked at a client and gone, right, let's go 150 grams of rice the next meal. Like, how do you know how to do that? And I was like, well, I don't know what it's doing, but I know that we put it there. I'm pretty confident in how you're going to look in the next 2 to 3 hours. So it's things like that.
Fascinating.
So, yeah.
Do you log what happens?
Or? Oh yeah, I write everything down. Yeah, so I got a note, so the following time we can manipulate it even more or pull back for whatever reason. And I get clients to track everything towards the end of the prep: their water, their salt, stress levels, everything all comes into play in terms of how you look. So
we've mentioned the word prep quite a lot. What is the prep or a prep? What is it?
Short for contest preparation. So usually we're looking at a 20, 16, 14 week stint of very, I don't want to say harsh, it gets harsh towards the end. It depends what your starting point is, but you're looking at that kind of time frame to get ready for a bodybuilding show.
Half a year.
Yeah. It's not an easy feat, and bodybuilding's strange because you have people coming into it. For instance, I can't go kick a ball in the park across the road and be like, right, okay, next step, I'm going to be a professional footballer. But it seems that with bodybuilding, people are like, never competed, can barely hold a diet for 2 weeks, and like, I want to be a professional bodybuilder. It's like, you have no idea what you're saying. You have no idea the level of commitment that takes.